Hello, and welcome to The Storied Human. Today, my guest is Major Retired Roy E. Emerson, originally from Vacaville, California. He enlisted in the US Army in 1988 as an infantryman, beginning his career with the 75th Ranger Regiment. After participating in Army operations, such as Operation Just Cause, where he conducted a combat parachute assault in Panama, he served in multiple leadership roles, including with the 18th Airborne Corps Long Range Surveillance Company at Fort Bragg and two tours with the 25th Infantry Division in Hawaii, and as an instructor at the US Army Ranger School. He commissioned as an officer in 2005, and he served as a platoon leader and executive officer with the 173rd Airborne Brigade. You can read more about his bio in the show notes for this episode. But the reason for the interview was that Emerson was inspired by Army friends who rowed across the Atlantic in the world's toughest rows Atlantic Challenge 2023. He had watched them closely as they made their way across the Atlantic on a boat that had no motor. Their mission aligned with his own passion for supporting veterans, leading him to establish Range Oars Row, Inc., a nonprofit dedicated to using ocean rowing as a platform to raise awareness for veteran mental health and suicide prevention. Through endurance challenges and community engagement, the organization aims to inspire resilience, foster camaraderie, and support initiatives that address the struggles many veterans face after service. The team will formally launch from Monterey Bay, California on June 7th of this year and row unsupported for 4 to 6 weeks to finish at Hanalea Bay, Kauai, Hawaii. There are 5 other teams entered into this year's Pacific Challenge. Monies raised by Team Rangers Row will go to several charities close to the team's hearts: Brother Keeper Veteran Foundation, Gary Sinise Foundation, Three Rangers Foundation, and Hard Rock Charlie Foundation. This is such a worthy cause. You can give directly by going to the website rangeoarsrow.org, and it's oars, OARS, Range Oars Row. To find out more about it, you can follow some of the links on that webpage, and you can also buy merchandise, which we didn't mention during the interview. I purchased the t-shirts are great. I purchased some of those, and it's just a great way to support this effort, and it's really important. And the cause, we can't overstate how important this is. We're losing too many veterans every day. So so that's all about Roy, and I want to say welcome.
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I've been looking forward to talking to you. You have
Yeah.
a great story.
Or tell or give signs of some in some way that they're struggling, and those are the times that are really important, that the brothers and sisters you know take the time to reach out. We got to do better at connecting with those that are struggling. Yeah.
That's so important because there's way
Yeah.
too many suicides. We
Yeah.
can't keep going like we're going.
Yeah. So, the so what many people across the country hear about is that one number that keeps making its way around, 22 a day.
Yeah.
So recent studies have actually shown that it's actually almost double that. You could
Oh
actually
my
say
God.
44 plus a day through unreported or other circumstances that just don't make the statistics. You know,
That's horrifying. Yeah, that's
yeah.
something to be concerned about. So now explain to us what you started doing. You heard
Okay.
about this group and you decided that you wanted to
Yeah.
form your own nonprofit.
So I started my career in the Army in 1988 with an assignment in the Special Operations community with First Ranger Battalion in Savannah, Georgia. Fast forward 30 plus years, some of those old Ranger friends of mine uh, took uh, took on the Atlantic race with this race that's organized by Atlantic Campaigns and the World's Toughest Row in December of 2023. And it was just really fascinating to watch them train up for it. They were rowing for an organization out of Mobile, Alabama called Fight or Die. And a lot of times people will play on the word or. So like when you look at our name, it's when you look back at the name Rangers Row, it goes back to a saying from World War II: Rangers lead the way. Rangers. So we threw in the word or. We're
It's part
rowing
of
with,
Ranger.
right?
Yeah, I love that.
So
So
Rangers lead the way, or Rangers, but that fight or die, or being spelled OAR.
oh, I love that.
So a lot
So
of teams play with the word or when they make up their team names
now
in
for
this.
those of us who aren't super familiar, can you tell me more about the Atlantic race?
Yep. So the Atlantic, so organized ocean rowing started more than a couple decades ago over a bet on a bottle of whiskey called Talisker whiskey. It's made in the UK. And so the original organized company that ran these races was called Talisker Whiskey. And so they formed the Talisker Whiskey Atlantic Challenge, TWAC. And that race begins on an island in the Canaries called La Gomera,
Ooh,
in San Sebastian Harbor, which ironically is the same place that Christopher Columbus began his journey west to the New
wow.
World. They embark each December because they time these ocean races with the lowest threat of ocean storm, whether
Hmm.
hurricane or tropical storms out in the Pacific side. And the Atlantic race is a 3,000-mile ocean row
Oh
from
my
La
God.
Gomera to the island of Antigua to English Harbor in Antigua.
Oh
And
my gosh.
that sets off somewhere around the 11th or 12th of December every year. And teams the average is probably 5 to 6, 7 weeks it takes for a team to cross the Atlantic Ocean.
Wow.
And it's completely the race is unsupported, meaning everything you need is on the boat with you.
I was going
So
to ask you, are all the provisions on the boat?
everything is on the boat, and that that is calculated by body weight. The race rules mandate that each rower brings on board 55 days of food, and then it's programmed out at 60 calories per kilogram of body weight. So for somebody like me, I weigh 225 pounds. It's over 6,000 calories of food that I would need to consume every day to
That's a lot.
keep my
But all
energy.
that rowing, yeah.
All that
Now,
rowing. So
can you tell us more about the boat? Because I want people to picture what we're
mhm.
talking about.
So the most of the boats are made by a company in England called Rannoch Adventures, Rannoch Adventures, and it is these boats are specially designed to take on the challenges of the conditions of the open ocean. So
Wow.
huge swells, big storms, and they're made to accommodate solo rowers and rowing teams up to 5 people. So it's a matter of how long the boat is. So our boat is
Mhm.
made for 3 to 5 rowers. It is a Rannoch R, what they call it, R45, and
Mhm.
it is 28, almost 29 feet long. And then the beam, which is the width of a boat from left to right side, is almost 6 feet. So it almost looks like a big torpedo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Long
it's
and
really it's long and
not too
narrow.
wide. Yeah.
And there's a little cabin in the front, a little
I was
cabin
going
in
to
the
say,
back,
is there a place? Okay, so you
and
can get out of
then
the elements.
yep, and then our boat, the R45, is designed with 3 rowing positions in it. So there's 3 sets of oarlocks and the little sliding seats and everything, and they're designed to self-right. So in a capsize, if you were to capsize that boat in about 5 to 10 seconds, it will just like a bobber pop right back up.
Wow.
Uh, but a lot of that depends on, like, if there's somebody in the cabins when it capsizes, and it happens, you just have to make sure that their body weight is positioned to help itself right.
To help the
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
So I'm trying to imagine rowing that much. Like how in the world is there no engine at all?
There is
Like
no
no
engine at
backup
all, and
engine?
so there are very strict rules about the kinds of things that we you can even have on board that could possibly be used as a sail, because that would be breaking the rules. It's an integrity violation.
Wow.
And so, for example, we asked the race coordinators if we could bring a bunch of U.S. flags that we could then authenticate, certificate of authenticity. This flag rode across the Pacific Ocean. They were like, nope, 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 because
Oh
they
wow.
in the
Not even a
past,
flag.
not even a flag, because in the past, some people with low integrity uh, got caught got caught using similar things as sails to cheat.
So they have to avoid that. Yeah.
But they have to avoid that, And so everything, there is a there's a huge rudder on the back, like a 3 foot. It's almost the 3 foot rudder that sticks out of the bottom of the back, and that is there's 3 ways to steer it. So while you're rowing, you can hand steer it.
Hmm.
The middle row position has a way to hook up the hand steering lines to their footbed, and then you take a pin out, and then the footbed
Oh, I
moves,
see.
and then you could steer the rudder. And then when the conditions are right, there's an automatic these pneumatic systems called auto helms, and it's connected to the rudder in the back of the boat, and you program a waypoint in the chart plotter, and then that will keep you on a course to that waypoint, so that you don't have to worry about steering. You just
Oh,
row.
that's cool. So the rudder would move
The
automatically
rudder
according
would
to.
move automatically based on your GPS position and your direction of movement. So you course over ground to a specific area ahead of
Yeah.
you, 500, 1,000 miles or whatever.
So how do you prepare for something like this? How do you train for something like this?
There's a it's for our team, it has been a challenge to train together because we're so geographically separated.
Oh yeah.
I have 3 team members that live in Tennessee. I have 1 team member that lives in Texas, and I'm here in New Jersey.
Oh
So
wow.
we there is a level of individual responsibility to, we all have rowing machines at home, so get on the rower and row as much as we can at home during the week, or during the times that we're not together. But we've been gathering and taking the boat down to Fernandina Beach on Amelia Island in North Florida, outside of Jacksonville, every month for 9 to 10 days, and we've been trying to get out on the open ocean out there. There's a really great rowing community there from people that have done this before that we've met. And it's just,
That's
the
good.
community down there is just so welcoming. And one particular rower, a guy named Paul Lore, who's crossed the ocean twice. He's getting ready to cross the Arctic Ocean.
Oh my
This
gosh.
summer. Amazing dude. Just the biggest heart in the world. And it's guys like that they open up their homes to us when we come down, and they help us fundraise. They help us with maintenance on the boat. They'll just drop whatever they're doing, if we need something. And
That's a
just
wonderful.
really lucky that we found a place like that.
Well, it's just a brotherhood, isn't it? It
It
really
is.
is.
It is, and it's and let me tell you, there are some kick-ass women out there doing this.
I love that.
There are some incredible women teams.
Some women are like, wait a minute, I can do
They're
this too.
Oh yeah. I mean, everything, from four, or in the UK you call a mother mum, right? So four mums. That was, I think, the name of their team a couple of years ago. Four mums from the UK or something like that. But they crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Just four moms that decided they want to do something,
I
really
love
hard
this.
and raise money for, whatever their charity was, and they
I
began to
just
train and they crossed an ocean. It's
I think it's so wonderful the combination of how hard you have to work. I mean, it's really something
yeah,
that you have to aspire to and work for,
yeah.
but that you get such visibility for a cause you really care about. It's all worth it. So
Yeah.
how long does each rower have to row? Like per
Um,
day?
yep. So for and it, crew size will dictate that. So
Yes.
obviously somebody that's rowing solo, and many people do that across the Atlantic. They
No
have,
way.
oh yeah, and they'll row for 10, 15 hours a day,
Oh my gosh.
taking breaks whenever they can, and then you know I don't even know how they do it. They throw out there's a big parachute. We have drogues or parachute anchors that you can throw out, which the big parachute will inflate and fill up with water, and it'll slow your drift
Yeah.
in the currents. Uh, and so, a solo rower would have to throw out the para anchor every night to get some rest, and it's a really pain in the butt to pull that thing back in. But for a crew of four, which we started as a crew of four, uh, most crews of four row 2 hours on, 2 hours off, two people, 24/7. So you end up rowing 12 hours in a 24-hour period.
Wow. That's
And
a
so,
lot of rowing. Yeah.
yeah, every day for, 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh my God.
And so I think the number of strokes each rower on the average ocean crossing is like 1.5 million oar strokes.
Jeez. But it really makes you remember that it's a big ocean and it takes a
Oh,
long time.
oh,
Like we don't so many people jet across it, but
yeah.
to do it that way, it's like amazing.
It is. It is this the stories that one can hear from rowers about being in the middle of the ocean and on a where there is no light or noise pollution, and you see the world for what it is in its nakedness, with the sea life that's out there, the stars and and the other galaxies that are visible, and
Just a beautiful
just
world.
the awesomeness of the
It
planet
is. It
around you.
that's a nice part of it
And
that
it
you're
and it
out.
just yeah, and
I
it
mean,
makes
most
you
people don't get to see that, right? And
no,
have that feeling.
and it confirms just how insignificant you are in this world.
Yeah, that you're part of this big, beautiful thing. That's amazing to me. So a
Huge.
couple crazy questions come to mind. I'm
Yeah.
assuming you have a bathroom on the boat.
Well, we do. It's a little archaic. It's actually so.
Excuse me.
a Gatorade bottle for, urinating, and a Home Depot 5 gallon bucket, for your other business. And
We're
so
talking rustic.
we're talking rustic. So basically you fill a 5 gallon bucket up third way with water, and then you do your business and you throw it overboard. That's
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's a different way to live. And what if someone gets sick? Do you have a first aid kit, or do you have like, what if something happens?
we have a very basic first aid kit. We do have we have the means to treat minor injuries with some basics stuff. One of the team members is an EMT, so we do have that.
Oh, that
But
helps.
we there is no for the Atlantic race. They have a support yacht that follows the fleet.
Oh,
There's like
okay.
40. There's like 40 boats in
Oh,
that race the Atlantic. The Pacific route's very new. This is only the third generation, the third
wow.
year they've ever done it. And so, like I'm going to say less than 150 people have ever done this on the Pacific Ocean.
Wow.
And they'll say with ocean rowing in general, more people have been in space than have done what we're doing.
Oh my goodness. Isn't the Pacific Ocean a lot wider? Isn't it bigger?
It is bigger, and
Yeah.
it is more unforgiving than the Atlantic. It's colder,
Oh,
it's rougher in the first 700 miles coming off the continental shelf from
yeah.
California. It is extremely rough. Like everybody keeps teasing us, like your first 10 days are going to be brutal.
Oh no.
You're
To
just going
get
to be
ready
you're just going to be cold, wet, and miserable for the first 10 days,
and wondering why you're doing
and
this.
wondering
Yeah.
how, like, what were we thinking?
Yeah. No, that sounds really challenging.
Yeah, and so and then all of a sudden, tend to, you break because the winds come down, the winds and currents are coming down the coast of California from the north, and so you're getting bashed from the starboard side, which is the right side of the boat,
Yes.
constantly for the first 700 miles, and then the winds will actually change direction, change direction, and then start flowing west towards the Hawaiian Islands.
Oh,
And so once you break through that thick band of weather that's coming north to south, and then you got the windier back after that first week or 10 days, then they say it's like, the sky opens up, and then it's like
like night and day. Yeah.
it's like night and day. It's like the sky opens up, the winds at your back, you're sometimes you're able to surf waves with the boat that you don't even need to put your oars in the water. You're going
That's
so fast.
amazing. And so
And
your goal, your end point is Hawaii, right?
is Hawaii, the
Yeah.
Hanalei Bay on the island of Kauai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
how long will that take you guys? Is it about the same as the
it
Atlantic
is
or
about the same. It's actually 200 miles shorter. It's
okay.
2,800 miles, but because of the rough conditions of that first 700 miles,
Yeah.
it
It
takes
could
people
take
just as long as it does the Atlantic. And so that it's kind of like in the 35 to 40-day mark is kind of average.
yeah.
And so that's what we're kind of pushing for. The world record's 29 days.
Oh my goodness. So you're doing this in June. You're doing this year, right?
This June. So I think we're 92 days out now from launch.
Wow.
7 June. Yeah.
So what was the first impulse that made you want to do this?
Yeah, getting back to that. So my Ranger friends that did this 2 years ago kind of inspired me. Just it was like watching, the old saying, you're watching a train wreck, right? Uh, you just can't take your eyes off it. I was consumed with watching these guys. There's an app you can download that you can watch the fleet cross the ocean. It'll tell you their
Yeah.
position. This is like a little boat you can see on the ocean along with all the others, and you can see position, their latitude, longitude, position, their speed, a little bit more information about the crew. And so I followed them every day. And then if you have a good social media manager, because we can't directly update social media out there. We have
Right.
to upload all of our content that we take. So we'll have a bunch of GoPros all over the boat. we'll take pictures and make videos and stuff like that of us living on the boat, cooking and other things. And we have a small satellite package, like a suitcase kind of thing
Oh,
that
yeah.
we shoot. It's called a BGAN, and we whenever we can, we'll shoot back all of our content to World's Toughest Row, and then they will put that into a folder. So they'll screen it first because they don't want us, you know, uploading anything that would embarrass their organization, right, or us. So they screen it kind of like a public affairs officer would, you know, for the
Yeah.
military or something. They'll screen all the content, and then they will approve the content that they approve for release. They'll put into a folder on their hub that our social media manager has access to, and that's how the daily updates will
That's
come.
so cool. I was going to ask you if you have any contact with the
Yeah.
mainland.
Yep. So
You could
and then
always reach out, right?
yeah.
If you needed to.
Yep. So we'll have a number of satellite phones too. So Iridium satellite phones that we have one that we have direct communication with the race safety team, and then we have one phone that we can put that we can use to talk to our families
Good.
and friends or whatever. And then there's one phone in what we call the go bag. So if we have to abandon ship in the life raft, then we will take
Hmm.
that go bag, which has a bunch of other stuff in it that would be, needed for survival.
Oh my gosh. A lot to think about.
I know.
Now, this is an unusual interview in that I already know your wife and I adore her and I
Yeah.
love the food that you guys put out. I should mention, that full disclosure, I go to everything that Mia and Roy have and I love the food and love Mia. She's got a great personality. What does Mia think of all this?
Mia is I'm going to go back to last probably April or May, when I decided, and they go like the Pacific race was done. My friends had come in, it took them 42. They did it. I think they did the Atlantic crossing in 42 days. Uh, and then I was just like, gosh, I something inside me said I need to do
Yeah,
this. You know,
right.
there, the let's double up the effort on mental health awareness.
Something
Through,
got to you. Yeah,
through this, so to speak, vessel.
it's so
Uh,
wonderful.
and I will say this: I didn't expect it, but I think Mia was the one that like kind of pushed me into say, you need to do this.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
And so
I
I've,
love that.
100% on board, with,
Yeah,
she's like right now, she even just launched, uh, outside of like the multitude of hours she spends with her catering company and talking to clients and building menus. We're doing a fundraiser on March 23rd at the Quakertown Firehouse with her fried chicken. Everybody loves her fried chicken.
oh, they do.
And so we're going to do a fundraiser there. So she just launched that on social media. So she's been working her butt off all day on that, and yesterday on the graphics and the menu and all kinds of stuff. So uh it is quite it's incredible to have the support, of those that are
Yeah,
close to you in an endeavor like this, because so much of our time is taken away with me being gone a lot.
yeah,
So, this so she helped stand up the nonprofit back, a year ago, and has been, 100% on board, ever since. And it takes a village to do this, because
yeah.
the running and for anybody out there that runs a nonprofit, it is no joke. It is life consuming.
It looks hard. I've talked to
Hard.
my, friends who do this kind of work. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. And we chose a route that isn't, for on the fundraising side. It isn't like we went out and we were pulling all this money, and and then right off the bat it's going to our charities. This crossing this ocean is going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
$180,000 it's going to cost us just to
That's
get
a
to the start
bunch
line.
of money. Yeah. So
Yeah.
do you get pledges? I mean, how are you going to
So
fundraise?
we work through, we've been blessed with a number of really large donations to get us to where we are today. Some local companies, Evco Mechanical, uh, Wounded Warrior Project, Greifeld Family Foundation, and a number of others have given generously that allowed us to buy the boat, to buy a bunch
So
of the
good.
equipment that we needed to pay the, it was 26,000 euros just to enter the race.
Yikes.
And
That's
so
a lot.
we kind of started off with an aggressive goal in mind that we want at the end of the day, we want to raise a total of $1 million for.
Wow.
And so, when you take out the 180,000 out of that, we're possibly looking at, potentially, $820,000 going to these charities that we've chosen. And so it's developing an aggressive goal like that. We thought, based off of some of the names that we got involved with, some of our charities, we thought, it would be a no brainer, but it's look in reality, it's a heck of a lot more work than sticking some, big name on the side of the boat and thinking money's going to just start like dropping at our feet, which
There's more work
isn't
involved, I would
so.
imagine. Yeah.
We got to go out. We got to do a lot of hustling and courting corporations
Right.
and then
What
really figuring out the kind of like the grassroots
right.
part too, the individual donations, from people. So, $5 here, $10 here, $300 here, all
Yeah.
add up, if we can
So
get word out.
where can people give? I mean, I'll put it in the show notes, but I like to have people
Yeah.
say it because some people don't read the whole show notes.
Sure. Our website is rangersrow.org, and that's rangerorsrow.org.
Okay.
So it's rangersrow.org. And there are links in there to donate and all, and then you can also find so Rangers Row, the same word, but all
Hmm.
together is like that's our Instagram
Okay, good.
profile name and Facebook profile name. So Rangers Row on Instagram. There's like links in the bio, to get to our website where folks can contribute.
Good.
Yeah.
I can't imagine somebody who wouldn't want to. I mean, we're all worried about this issue.
Yeah.
And if we can hear that there's a way to directly help people, it's a no-brainer. It's a
No, I know.
wonderful
Yeah.
thing you're doing. And
And I
people
met,
want,
and sometimes I think, in some of the groups I'm in, some of the military groups I'm in, where I'll go in and I think a lot of people are the the attention span of people on social media is very short. You have to grab somebody in about 7 or 8 seconds,
yeah,
or you lose them. Uh, and so, I mean, it's really challenging, and I wish there was, I wish I can crack the code. But in some of my military groups where I'll go in and kind of, plug what we're doing, there might be 3,000 members of that group, and after a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4 will follow us. It's like, how do I get to those
yeah,
people, and get and grab their interest,
yeah,
and not just to grab their interest to follow us on Instagram because we want to grow our followers, because the bigger our followership is, the more reach we have
yeah.
across but how do I get, I mean, I sometimes I imagine if 3,000 people donate $20 each, that's a lot of money,
That's amazing. Well, you should remind them. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have to be reminded to follow. I'll be reading something, I'll be like, this is great, and I'll like it, but I
Yeah.
forget to follow,
Try to
right?
get following,
It's
follow and
good.
like, follow and like, and it's
It's
like,
good if somebody says that, right?
and then you got to get over so we got to get over I guess these are all Army buddies. Why should I ask them for money? No, let's ask them for money. Because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, the money after we've paid for the race, the organizations that we're raising money for, one Brothers Keeper Veteran Foundation, the guy Chris Cathers that founded that, a special forces veteran who almost had lost everything, has had the gun in his mouth a dozen times over the last couple of years,
good God.
and is really doing some very special stuff with veterans, trying to crack the stigma, on mental health. And then another organization we're raising money for is a very well-known guy, is Gary Sinise
Gary
Foundation.
Sinise, I saw that. Yeah, that's great.
Uh, and
Now,
then because he does he does some really cool stuff, and
he's
that was,
amazing.
at the beginning when I recruited the guys on the team, we all had a meeting and said, hey, who are our charities going to be? Because
Yeah,
the one thing about this race, which I really like, there's no cash prize. You don't win anything for
yeah,
winning this
right,
race.
right.
You know, the only winners are your charities. And so you have to raise money for a charity to even enter this race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
fantastic.
really good.
But
Uh,
there's something that occurs to me that must come up all the time is that when you're a soldier and you've been through what soldiers go through,
mhm.
you're a tough guy, right? Or a
Everybody's
woman.
a tough guy
You're tough.
or tough guy. There's a lot of
And
pride. There's
you're
a lot
not
of
supposed to
shame.
have these problems, right? You're not supposed, that's a
Yeah.
weakness. And
Yeah.
I would imagine that that gets in their way. And so if we can
Yeah.
help people realize that we're all human, we're all going to have these things happen, we can still be tough guys and women,
Yeah.
but
And it starts very early on in somebody's career, especially in combat arms, in combat engineers, the infantry, special forces, special operations. When we were growing up as young soldiers in special operations, it was, you can't show weakness. If you have to go to sick call and go see the PA, you're looked at as weak. And so a lot of soldiers get into the habit of the old, we're just going to suck it up and drive on.
and I understand that. I mean, you don't want to show that weakness, especially the more elite forces, right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot more at stake. I mean, you made it into this
You made it in.
special,
The Army spent a lot of money on you,
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
and it's in the special forces pipeline. The Army's spending millions of dollars on your training
wow.
on one
And so
person,
you carry that weight.
and you carry
It's
that
not the
weight.
same. It's not the same thing, but I do remember my father talking about. He was a commercial pilot, and he talked
Mhm.
about how nobody wanted to admit that anything was wrong with them because then they might
Because
get in
then you might
trouble
lose,
or
might be grounded. It's like,
be forced
no,
to go to
it's
train,
the thing. And so
counseling.
a lot of
It's
that,
tough. It's tough.
yeah. And so we get very good at compartmentalizing our feelings
Yeah, yeah,
and holding things in, and when in reality it should be the opposite.
yeah.
We should be
And
able to talk about what's
none
going on in our
none
lives.
of
And
us want to lose any more veterans. So
yeah.
I'm so proud of you and what you do. And I'm so ready to spread the word. And I'm so glad you came on today.
No, it was my pleasure, Lynn. I had fun, and I love every opportunity I get to
Yeah,
share it and to tell the story, and the why.
it's so
It's a
important.
blessing. So,
There is a website that I belong to, like a group that
mhm.
matches podcast guests with podcast hosts. And you might want to try that. I'll share that with you
Yeah, sure.
when
Yeah,
I stop the interview. But yeah, you want to
yeah,
get the word out and maybe be
yeah,
speaking to a few more podcasts.
yeah.
Um,
And I've actually got DVR radio lined up when we get
oh,
back from
that's
Florida.
great. Our local radio
Yeah,
station.
yeah,
Yeah. The more we can get the word out, the better.
yeah.
So thank you, Roy. Anything else that we need to know before we go?
Hit that website, www.rangersrow.org, and give
Fantastic.
$5, $100, $1,000,000. We'll take
We
it.
will.
It's going to help
I
some
know,
veterans.
I
Yeah.
know people will. People just need a way to help. They need to know what to do. Need to know. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Lynn.